The G-Wade Podcast with Deacon Dirty.
But you know what? I do like what you said, and I 100% agree with this. Mm-hmm. When we talked about just talking about stuff and
you're right.
Going back and, addressing the person or confronting the person.
Yes.
For me, I always tell people I didn't really have trauma growing up. I don't have this story.
Right.
But unfortunately, I was the problem. You know what I'm saying?
you the problem. Okay.
Yeah, I caused problems. You know what I mean?
Right. I think we all. I think we all have in some shape, form, or fashion.
Right. And so I went back, and this is what made me start doing it. This was early in my walk in Christ and all that kind of stuff. But this is what made me do it. Mm-hmm. I'm listening to Dr. Charles Stanley.
Oh yeah.
And he had this message. I forgot what it was called, but one of the things that he's talked about in that message was to go back and make amends type of thing. Mm-hmm. And he says that even if you can't go to the person, because you kind of mentioned that,
right.
Even when you can't get to the person, maybe because they somewhere you can't get to them or they passed on.
Right.
This is what he said to do. He said, when you home, put two chairs in front of each other, sit in one chair, and act as if the person is in the other chair. Right. And start talking, start apologizing, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And he said, it's going to sound weird. It's going to feel weird. And then, honestly, when I started to do it, it felt weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sitting here looking at an empty chair, sitting here. You know what I'm saying?
But on hour 2.
Right. You know, that's when the breakthrough came. You know what I'm saying? And I was apologizing to whomever and for whatever and so on and so forth. But I promise you.
You felt better. You got to release.
And I trusted God.
Cleansing.
Yes, right. I'm telling you, it's serious. It's like Lestine Bell has a book about soul ties. I recommend you guys get the book called Illegal Soul Ties.
Illegal Soul Ties.
Yeah, Illegal Soul Ties. And she talks about that from, because people always think about sexual soul ties, right? That's the main thing you hear about, but there's so many different types of soul ties that you can have. Emotional soul ties, being connected to somebody without having sex. They were like, but I didn't forget about your 5 love languages either.
Of course, I we'll get there.
And so,
you gonna tell me?
I'm just saying.
I'm like, what else you want to talk about? You know what I'm saying?
But she talks about those different things and how you're talking about breaking. And so last year, about a year ago this time, I literally had her book. A friend of mine recommended me to get that book.
And what's the author again?
Lestine Bell, L-E-S.
Okay.
Yeah, Lestine Bell, L-E-S-T-I-N-E, Bell.
Gotcha.
Yes, she's really, really known. We just had a purity ceremony because she's really big on abstinence, you know, not being sexually active while you're not married.
Right.
And people who are virgins, that's great because they've never experienced it. But for those of us who are not virgins, it's a little more work on our part. You know what I'm saying?
Did you want that old thing back?
But but we made a choice. We made a choice, you know, to keep our bodies. So, but going back to the soul ties and everything, having to sever that. So, how you were sitting there talking to someone. For me, in part of her book, it's a chapter. The latter part of her book, the end. There's 3 prayers she give. Okay. And one is about a prayer for repentance. And the other 2 are for soul ties. And then she give you requirements for setting goals. Okay. And I said both those prayers and I began to release people. And you'd be surprised how when you ask God to show you your heart during that process as well, He will show you things and people that you were still holding on to that you thought you forgave. And so I was like, man, names began to come up and I was like, what really happened? Like who? I'm like, I wasn't even thinking about this here stuff. Yeah. And so just learning how to really be healed and forgiven. And going through that process, it's not a painless process. It's a painful process, but it's worth it so that you can break free and break through. And going into something different, God showed me recently. I shared this with my best friend. I probably do a series on it. It was about strength and honor. We always hear about being a Proverbs 31 woman when you get married. Right? You got to be this way, blah, blah, blah. Nah. Well, you're that before you become his wife. And we are the bride of Christ, you know? And so being mindful that we operate and conduct ourselves a certain way. When you read Proverbs 31, you look at the woman, supposed to be the woman who's characterized as a virtuous woman. She does certain things. But we should be doing it. This is just Monique's opinion. You can argue, you can disagree with it. It don't matter. Yeah. It doesn't matter to me.
I'm with you.
But when you operate, she does these things while she's married, but you prepare yourself before, you know. This like you go back to the book of Genesis. Adam and Eve, but before Eve came into the picture, Adam had to get everything in order, right? And so we as women, before Esther became the queen, she went through a preparation process, right? And so it's like with tying it into my book, The Brokenness, and I can go through all of them, but tying it into The Brokenness, the book that's out right now, it's a preparation process. I'm getting to the root of what broke you, so that you can mend, you can heal before you get married. Not saying you don't have everything all together, or if you've got things are empty, is getting rid of all the trash, but at least you won't have all that baggage. That's for men and women,
And you are addressing them.
You're addressing them, yes, because it's kind of like bringing debt. You get married, you got all this debt, and he got this got this right here. Here you come with all your baggage. That's nothing. Credit score. It's like, I don't even know I'm going here, but hey,
don't talk about it.
But seriously,
you say
like,
250. Oh no. I'm at 807. You know what I'm saying?
right. Just what you bring to the table. Sometimes we was taught that. I think this applies. They teach girls mostly that, well, at least I was taught, you should have more than your body to bring to the table. And so I think that should apply to men as well.
Yeah.
You should have more than your body to bring to the table, because women, that we're taught certain things growing up, how to be, and you kind of groom for marriage and blah, 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 right? But when you say, well, what do you have to offer? And I used to ask men that, I'm like, what can you do for me that I can do for myself, right?
You said that like this. When you say do, you know what I'm saying?
Right. And I was 19 asking that question.
Oh, okay.
But because I was working, I'm a college student, and I worked I was a full-time college student, and I had 2 jobs,
wow.
right? So yeah, I needed to know what you was bringing to the table for real.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Packs, baby.
And so, but the problem with
so you didn't have no time for no foolishness.
No, I didn't. You gonna come correct, right? So, Lord, what was it going? Walking down the street. No, I got a song cruising down the street in my 6'4", but that's not the song I was going to. But but for real though,
what all the ladies say.
Yeah. No, but
I see where you at.
Yeah, but not being independent. Sometimes I think.
So you saying you told them, what can you do for me that I can't do for myself?
But being independent causes a problem. When you're too independent. So you guys can relate to when you're with a female and she's like too independent. I don't need a man, this and the third, whatever. Okay, what happened when you need your tire change? You know what I'm saying? You need your oil change or whatever. There's certain things.
Call Tanya.
Right. Yeah, you can't call Tyrone or whatever. It's just certain things. But my sister and I were having a conversation about that, about independence, and when you're in a relationship, there's a balance. There's a fine line, a balance between the two. Not putting everything. This is just me speaking here, right? Not putting everything on that male. I do believe men being a provider, but if he loses his job, I feel as women, we got to be able to pick that back up. Okay, if he loses his job, I'm not saying that you ain't got no job at all. Just ease on down the road. But if we're together, and you lost your job, I should be able to step in, at least to help you until you get back to that place or whatnot and build you up. And so, but sometimes we get away where we're too independent and we
too impatient,
and we tear down that man, and so that's an issue. Men's
2 weeks later, you ain't found no job yet.
And 2 days later,
right?
You still on the couch.
2 weeks later, 2 days later, so we have stress, and so I've had to learn how to pour into that person, speak life.
Now, what does that look like? Pouring into? Because let's say your man lost his job. Y'all both working, doing your thing, holding it down. And we're gonna really be in the hypothetical. So y'all married. You know what I mean?
I'm married. Yeah,
so that way you're not living over there. He living over there.
Dating, okay, married. Okay, it's different. I gotta endure a little bit when I'm married. When I'm dating, I ain't gotta endure all that mess.
She's like, I'm out. You know what I'm saying?
No, I mean, I've been
Sorry, Harold. I don't know who Harold is. You got a Harold in your life?
And my cousin name is Harold. So you got to another name. Yeah, that's incest right there. No,
we don't want to talk that. That's not that Harold. The other one. Right. Okay. All right. So what does that look like? So your husband loses his job. Of course, everything's good. Everything ain't rosy, but things are good at home. He loses his job. At the, I don't know, let me just say the factory.
Okay.
Because, I could say Google because he's a top executive, but I'm going to just keep it on levels where everybody kind of in the middle.
Right,
So he loses his job at the factory where he was making good money, health insurance, the whole benefit stuff. And now what happens at home? What does Monique do?
It depends on the day. I'm gonna be honest, cause I'm human.
She's like this. What now?
Nah. I can give. I'm not gonna give no sugar-coated answer.
Monique has been telling us about about herself from the beginning. Did you hear her say it depends on the day?
Or which button?
Oh, which button? Which is still the day?
Listen, I'm just thinking about it. Sometimes your mood can.
We going back to them love languages because I need to know.
Sometimes your mood can affect what you say. If you're not in control of your emotions.
That's honesty right there.
So
I like that.
Seriously, because if I'm having a great day or whatnot, it might come out real smooth. It might be a little bit easier, to hear it. If I'm having a crazy day, I might come out like, I know this. You know what I'm saying?
Did what?
It could be that way. But
Dang, that's scary though.
I'm just look. If I sit here and tell you,
baby, you good? You know what I'm saying? I'm on my way home now.
You sitting down?
You sitting there, right?
Yeah, I would be worried. I would be concerned. But as far as if he lost his job, I'm gonna be, especially my spouse. Now I'll be right there as far as pointing to him. I'm an entrepreneurship type. I'm gonna push him in that direction. You can go look for something. But I'm gonna try to get him to build. If he doesn't already have that, then we're gonna build that.
Right, gotcha.
We'll build that. So pointing to him would be what I've taught him, what I do already in preparation. I intercede for him. However I can build him up, because if and do my best not to nag him or aggravate him or whatever, because I know
very important.
Yeah, it is important. I try. I'm not saying I won't do it. You know what I'm saying? Because it might just happen. I might have you know what? I'm sick of this right here. I need you to go outside, do something, whatever. Like you can't be up in here all day, all night, or whatever. I'm telling you, you can wash some cars. Mow some grass, do whatever you got to do.
Oh, what if he's doing those things?
That's the
what if home is taken care of.
If he's doing those things, that's all well and good.
She coming home feeling the TV.
If the TV hot, you ain't did nothing all day. How would you reverse it? How would you feel if that? How would you feel if you were
married?
So
he can't work on his high score. He can't do that.
Oh, his credit score. He better.
No.
His high score.
PlayStation.
No. You know what? Yes. You know what? Yeah. I'll give you that time.
I'm just kidding with you.
I gotta be. I gotta be nice because it's given. It's a whole balance. I'm gonna need my girl time, right? So but you can do that. Yeah, have that time. Give all decompress, whatever you got to do. I'm gonna allocate a certain amount of time. I'm gonna allocate a certain amount of time for you to get your life together.
There's a Call of Duty going on. Yeah.
She said she turned that sand thing over. What's the
the little timer?
The hourglass.
Hourglass, yeah.
Yeah, the hourglass. Yeah,
like
you need a certain amount of time because you can't stay in that position. I know I've dealt with depression and certain things of that nature. So the longer you stay in there, the harder it is for you to get out of it.
That's true.
The hardest for you to get out of it. So,
but you know how sometimes where you take a
I think it's called a rut.
Yes, right. But you can get out of that rut.
Yeah. But sometimes
S and a T.
When you take an L, sometimes it depending on how it hits you, it can blow. Really hit you with a serious blow that kind of throws you off your pivot. Where you can't just bounce right back into, all right, well, I'm going to go and hit these streets and get this job. Sometimes it's like, wait a minute.
It takes time. I get
it.
Yeah. I know mentally it is draining. You have to mentally it is something different. So I realize that,